as Chad Cronister, sheriff from the Tampa Bay area, was nominated by Trump on Saturday to head the DEA. And no sooner did I send that in, and Jason sent me an article from The Hill that said, no, he withdrew it. It's like,
his pullout game is strong, Dale.
yeah. Well, a lot of people should have pulled out. We wouldn't have all the problems we're having right now. But that's a whole nother story. Is there applause? Anyway, so Chad Cronister, in his withdrawal statement, said, I'm going to stick to the things I'm already doing around Tampa Bay, which I think is great, but it's not the story. As I went looking, I found an article out of Politico, and I think, Jason, you probably saw some of this too.
Yep.
Seems a good sheriff locked up a pastor during the COVID lockdown, and that didn't go over so well. And that's still one of those things that I don't think he's going to get around, because nobody in this administration or the Trump administration is anxious to go back, parse all the bullshit that happened during the COVID lockdown and take responsibility for it. There were some people in the Senate that were unhappy with, arresting a pastor for having services during the COVID lockdown, when the people that were dying were old farts like me and sick people, and the rest of the people weren't dying. No one wanted to look at this as a fact-based thing. It was hysteria, and we still haven't decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the thoughts I had when Cronister was in the running is he's actually publicly supported decriminalization of cannabis, which I support. He's also come out and publicly said the war on drugs, as it was fought as a prohibitionary approach, failed. It didn't work. And that's something I've been screaming about for a long time. Drug laws are what we call malum prohibitum. They're bad because society decides we're going to make them bad and prohibit them. They're not malum in se. They're not wrong in and of themselves. It's not lying, cheating, stealing, using violence and things like that. So when you have a prohibitionary law, as soon as you prohibit something, you make it valuable. This is not rocket science. Abraham Lincoln was screaming about this. So was Mark Twain. You try to tell people they can't have something, they're going to tell you, yeah, fuck you, watch me. The trap's right around the corner. And that's exactly what we have. And I was hoping we get somebody in the head of the DEA recognize this. Take your focus off of weed. Just stop it. Don't be chomping at the bit. Fentanyl is a big problem right now. The problem with fentanyl is not just the drug itself. It's the United States' insatiable appetite for drugs of despair. I mean, people are using drugs of despair in this country, and they're killing them. And we can't keep locking people up to get out of this. People just aren't happy in this country, and they think drugs will fix it. DEA has been in the forefront of having their head up their ass about the drug war. All they're into is power, rather than let's take a bigger, broader perspective. Let's go to 30,000 feet. Don't give it to the medical profession exclusively. Don't give it to law enforcement exclusively. Let's see if we can work out some way here, because when they closed all the mental health hospitals down in the 60s, kicked them all out, there was nothing you could realistically do with people who, use an old term, were addicted to drugs. Drug addiction is a problem in this country. The rest of the world is making billions off of our drug addiction. We don't seem to have the capacity to work ourselves through this because the approaches are schizophrenic. I was hopeful we'd have someone in the head of the DEA that would, take your foot off the gas, and let's look at this from a different perspective. I don't know where we're going to be going now, because the heads of the DEA and the drug czars have typically been cops or prosecutors. This goes way back, way. Barry McCafferty was the first guy who came after me. He was a retired general. What in the actual fuck does he know about drugs? Nothing. He knows how to go out and beat people up and throw them in jail. That's been the approach. It has failed miserably in the war on drugs. Hands down, drugs won. So now what do we do? Okay. And this, I was hopeful. But now, because it looks like because he locked a pastor up because he wouldn't, go through with all the nonsense in COVID, that he's off the table. Now, who's going to be next? I don't know. Okay, this brings up one of the ongoing problems with cannabis, especially, is that we're thrown in the category of fentanyl because it's a drug. rather than looking at this as something different and gradating some of these drugs of abuse. Fentanyl is heroin basically, and the opioids are very addictive. Meth's very addictive. Cocaine's very addictive. Nicotine's very addictive. So is alcohol. Cannabis, not so much so. Can we take a look at this from more of a scientific standpoint and stop filling the jails with people who fall into addiction and just struggle to get out? Okay. Now, I'm going to throw this back at you because this is one of those subjects that we could scream about for hours, and let's see what you guys have to say.
Before anybody else, I would like to hear Jason's response to this and Jason's take on why that individual left.
You know what? I actually, man, you know what it is. What's happening right now is there's a deep state coup. There's a deep state coup that's going on within these with these senators that don't want any type of change. This guy was hand chosen by incoming Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she had an amazing relationship with this sheriff as far as fighting crime and whatnot while she was the Attorney General in Florida. And so it's just basically people are just really trying to stop the progress that Trump is going to do in Washington to try to hinder his whole agenda all the way around. And this just is what it is. These people are rhinos.
Explanation. Put this man on Fox News. Put Jason on Fox News.
Throw me on Fox News. That'd be amazing.
In my life.
It's the truth.
The worst spin.
It's not even a spin. It's the truth.
So the truth is
the truth. Yeah.
He found out that he was too what you motherfuckers consider to be woke.
Stop it. Stop the cap, bro. Stop the cap. Stop it.
They opened his file and found that, oh yeah, he's a little too woke for my taste.
Oh, shout out to Joe Mackey who says "and you" on CNN, Rico.
And me on CNN. I don't fuck with mainstream news, but I'm for it. Let's get on it.
All that.
I'm going to be on News Nation myself.
I have been on News Nation.
Mm-hmm. No, I was actually on X base last night in Trump Tuesdays, and we
sounds like the worst smelling room on earth.
Oh, it's fantastic room. It's fantastic room, and I encourage you to check it out Tuesday nights on X. Without a doubt.
What's X? You mean Twitter, right?
No, X. You know what? I'm done using the word Twitter. And someone gave me the best explanation as to why I should only use X.
Explanation?
Nope. No,
it's like Twitterplanation.
No, I think you're going to appreciate this, Rico. I think you will. I know. Sohum's going to hate it. Sohum's going to hate it, and he's only going to use the word Twitter because basically Twitter was when it was Twitter, it was the land of wokies and of silencing conservative voices and whatnot. And then Elon Musk came around and allowed for free speech on the platform, and changed it to X, and so therefore should be called X because I appreciate free speech, Rico.
I'll give you the other side of that. For one, the reason we call it Twitter and not X is because we use his birth name, not his colonizer name. Not the apartheid colonizer name.
Were you born as?
Yeah.
Stop it.
But
Stop it.
To your point about censorship on the platform,
so you're saying really you support censorship when you say Twitter?
No, the censorship that happened was content moderation related to hate speech and racism and anti-Semitism. So if you're associating that with conservative ideology, that's on you, not on anybody else.
Stop the gaslighting, Sohum. All right.
And speaking of content moderation, though, too, I just love how Elon Musk comes out here and the actual results of Blue Sky versus Threads versus X with multiple users and multiple analysts posting the same exact shit. Certain words are getting suppressed on Twitter that are not getting suppressed anywhere else.
I will say this.
No, hold on. The content is actively being hidden on Twitter for saying certain things. It's not happening anywhere else. Why is that, Jason?
I will say this in regards. There is some content that is hidden on X, and I put out a tweet a while ago. I had it pinned at the top of my profile. Tweet, huh? So I hope as old habits die hard. X. I don't see that that's the problem with calling it X is I don't understand how to call those things X's. You know what I mean?
Call
like
it
that
Twitter.
doesn't. Yeah.
Call it Twitter.
It's called a tweet.
Yeah, it's called a post. But nonetheless, my point being is that you still can't use hashtag 420 on X. Like it doesn't show up as a hashtag, and Elon Musk needs to fix that, and he also needs to allow for the ability for people in the cannabis space to have green checks instead of blue checks.
Well, let me just say this: the mainstream media is guilty as hell of stepping on First Amendment rights.
Yep.
I mean, and they're going to be exposed more and more here if they really tried to put their thumb on the scale. I mean, I'm an advocate for the First Amendment freedoms. And I don't want to say fuck your feelings, but the reason the First Amendment's there is because fuck your feelings.
Yep.
You have a right to say what you want to say. I think we need to teach more people to, hear bullshit when they hear it and recognize it and let people speak what they want to speak. Because this last election cycle, now, the pants are being pulled down about some of these executives at mainstream media trying to massage the message. And I just think that's a recipe for disaster. That's why we have the First Amendment. If you don't like what people say, you don't have to listen to them. If you try to shout them out or close them down, now that's insidious. It creates the response on the other side that do the same damn thing. And the best thing to do, whether you like it or not, is let people speak their piece. There are, lawsuits available to defame people. Otherwise, if you think somebody's stupid or their ideas are bullshit, you should be allowed to say that, and they should come back with a response or turn you off. I mean, that's how this has worked 200 plus years. And now with the ability to have these damn apps and bots move everything around, these problems started back when social media really got under control of these apps and these bots, and they move messages to you that are hyper-inflating somebody's message. When the average person say, yeah, you're full of shit, I never want to hear you again, that's all you keep seeing is that message in front of you. That's another thing we have to look at, because I think that skews the First Amendment point where does it really exist anymore?
Great.
But as a private business, they can do whatever they want. They're not.
They're not though. They're not private businesses because they want to. No.
Hey, Jason, we're at the we're way over time.
Oh damn.
Let's keep it rolling.
We're gonna keep this train rolling. We are gonna roll into our next commercial. Sorry about that, you guys.